thing I loved reading was Lemonade and turning insurance from a necessary evil into social good. So that's something that really stuck out for me. Give me a little bit of background into Lemonade, the business, Ori, and your role at Lemonade,
Yep.
and introduce yourself.
Lemonade is insurtech company. Instead of brokers and bureaucracy, we're using bots and machine learning to create insurance experience that is instant, paperless, but also affordable. And when I'm talking about instant, it's like you can buy insurance in 90 seconds and you can get paid for a claim in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And actually, 1/3 of our claims are paid automatically without human intervention. I'm director of engineering at Lemonade, and I'm leading the engineering site in Amsterdam for Lemonade.
Nice. I do want to touch on some of that. I think that's fascinating around 30% of claims or a third of claims get paid out without any intervention. We'll touch on that later. Talk to me a little bit about your background and help us understand a little bit about Ori.
Yeah, so I started to code when I was 12, I think, but I had computer for all my life. So I knew since I was a kid that I will do something in the tech industry. So I'm director of engineering of Lemonade. And before that, I worked for Booking.com as senior manager in the customer payments area. So I was responsible about a large group of people who was owning and developing the customer payments, which is the last page of the reservation when you are going to Booking. And it doesn't matter if it's, accommodations, flights, attractions, cars, taxis. Eventually you will end up in a payment page, and behind it there is like international or global payment platform. So I was leading people mostly in Amsterdam, but also I had teams in Shanghai. Before that, I was a co-founder of a blockchain-based company. For 2 years, I even wrote, together with my partners, I wrote a patent in this field. It's registered in the United States. It's a fascinating, area, blockchain. And I still, read a lot about it and go to conventions and meetings. But at the moment, I'm not actively doing anything there. Before that, I've done a lot of things from backend developer, senior backend developer, team lead, engineering manager, group manager. I did a lot of things before that.
Nice. Enjoying yourself at the moment?
Yes, I am. It's I always trying to find something that I love to do, and that's what makes me do it. On the best side.
There's a myriad of things that really interest me about Lemonade, and I've been on the site. I didn't actually set up an account, but it looks super easy and slick. And you actually are one of the fastest organizations to 1 million customers, and I can see why. And it's faster than some top names. Help us understand a little bit about that journey.
So it's already we are now already around, or maybe more, 1.5 billion customers.
Fine.
But we did reach to 1 million paying customers faster than Netflix and Spotify. And in general, we are doing things quite fast, especially in the tech industry for sure, but especially if you compare us to typical insurance company. we are live for more than 5 years.
Yeah.
During that time, we've launched 4 lines of product. We launched our biggest product in less than a year, which is the the car insurance. So in order to achieve this, you need to have like the right structure. You need to grow, but grow healthy. And yes, you're right. We do things quite fast.
Automation is critical to what you guys do. We've spoken about bots. We've spoken about machine learning. Help us uncover some of that and what actually goes on under the hood from an insurance claim perspective and what that might look like. A third of claims don't get investigated, and it's just like, boom, paid. Like, what's that like?
It's we are trying to raise the number. We try to ideally you would like to approve all the claims automatically, but it's not possible. So what we're trying to do is we try to take traditional processes and automate it to remove human intervention as much as we can. But for that, we need to address many things that are done manually today in other companies, especially in the buying policy or the claim experience. So normally when you buy a policy from an agent, they will fill up a questionnaire and they will sell the same policy to you, but for all the other customers. This leads to a situation where most of the good customers are paying high premiums for their policy, but also suffer from very bad claim experience because the insurance companies are trying to do everything in their power not to pay them to maintain profitability. So our approach is different. We try to reduce costs and help our customers to file better claims by filtering out customers that trying to make frauds. But for that, you need a lot of automation, right? If you want to sell a policy in a few minutes or pay a claim in a few minutes, you need to do a lot of things behind the scene automatically, such as analyzing the user behavior while they interact with the platform, right? Operate fraud capabilities that involves image processing, identifying disaster zones, etc. If you want to improve the service and the price, for instance, in the car insurance, you need to use telematics and other sensors, and many more integration that I cannot talk about because they are like IP and they are not exposed to the public. But there are a lot of things that we are doing under the hood that makes us provide this instant experience, like streamline the whole process. It requires a lot of work behind the scene.
Talk to us a little bit more about some of the engineering challenges that are attached to data as well, because I think they'll be supremely relevant, because there must be so much data throughput coming into the platform about different customers when they're claiming. How are you as a business handling that, and what are you doing on the other side of that data, if you like?
So you touched a really good point, because naturally, if we go back to 300 years ago, when the insurance business founded, they didn't have much data, right? For sure, they didn't have computers, and this business, the insurance business, is the perfect business to rely on data. And this is why only companies that are founded based on the digital substrate will be the one who will lead the market in the next 100 years. Because when you talk about insurance, the name of the game is loss ratio. You want to reduce the loss ratio. The traditional insurance companies are reducing loss ratio by denying claims.
Yeah.
They will do everything in their power to deny claims. They will make your life miserable if you file a claim. They will do everything in their power not to pay you a claim, because if they will pay you the claim, they will lose money. This is their model. Our model is a bit different, and I will touch the data part in a minute. Our model is a bit different. We are taking only 25% of the premium as our fee. All the rest will go to claims, and if you are not claiming, they will go to a cause, a charity that you choose, and we can talk about that for hours. But so we are not focusing on denying claims, and in order to have a better loss ratio, we need to use data and a lot of data points, because the way that we are pricing our premiums are only based on data. We have like models that we are building based on this data to allow us to price the premiums better in that sense. So we are relying on data. I mean, it's a must in our business.
Yeah, I can imagine off the back of the data provides you with explosive growth. Really, if we're talking about the insurance industry, if to succeed, you need less loss ratios, and by doing that data, the throughput needed, you need to do something with that. So I can see how the two actually coincide.
So on one hand, you need to have better loss ratio, to get more money than you spend on claims. That's that's the base. But also you need to reduce your operating cost, and this we are doing by automating everything. So we are heavily relying on tech. You can say that we are a tech company.
Even going deeper than that, there has to be some smart models that you've had to continually build over the years. You've been around 5-6 years or so. So you've probably had to continually work on the models to continually improve the speed, the accuracy, and in effect, the customer experience.
Yeah, we need to do two things. First, we need to, of course, work on the model to release new versions of the models that we are building, and we need to acquire a lot of data. And only over years, you can see our models improving as time goes by, because we get much more data. We have much more cases that we can analyze, and then we can be much more accurate. And this is why our early products are having better loss ratio than the new products. The new product needs to we need to calibrate them. We need to improve the models, and we will for sure we will be there. But we need some time for that.
They need to be battle tested.
Yes, I mean we need a lot of data to run through the process in order to get much better results, much reliable results.
Yeah. Well, before we go any further, when we're talking about Lemonade, we've got to talk about that you're a B-Corp as well, and the social good part, and how I introduced the pod. So explain to some of the people listening how that actually works and how it's sliced up at Lemonade.
So when you think about insurance company, you imagine like the bad guys. They will try to do everything in their power to deny your claims. Yeah, and you as a customer, you will have to embellish claims, to add numbers, etc. And we want to change it. In order to change it, we need to we built ourselves from the core differently. So we want to be the most loved insurance company. So if you look at our brand, it's not a typical insurance company. If you look at our user experience, user interface, it's very different from any other insurance company. But also, if you look at other things like our business model, most of the insurance companies are taking 100% of your money, and it's an industry that builds on top of conflict of interest. They have interest not to pay you. You have interest to embellish claims, and this is evil, right? This is someone needs to lie or to be the better. We try to introduce new actor to the game. So we will take 25%. We will leave 75% for claims. But if you are not claiming, if the loss ratio will be lower, then you can choose a charity and the money will go to this charity. So, matter of fact, we will help you to file better claims. We don't have any interest to deny your claims because we will take our 25%. This is our service. We are giving great service and the customers are loving us. But, we broke the conflict of interest by introducing the charity and the good cause. This is one aspect. The other aspect is that we are not investing, as insurance company, you have a lot of money from premiums, right? And you need to put them somewhere so they won't lose their value. So insurance company, it's funny, they're investing in polluting industries that creating disasters eventually. But they are insuring people against those disasters, right?
Yeah.
So we are not investing in polluting industries. We are not investing in the gun industries. We are investing only in good industries. In our new car product, using the telematics that I've talked about, we can see how much miles you drove and plant trees accordingly to offset your carbon footprint, which is super great. So in general, we are doing, we just launched the product in Africa, in the crypto foundation for farmers in Africa. So we are doing a lot of good things. It's not a greenwash. A lot of companies try to do like something that looks similar to greenwash. We are doing good, but then the matter of fact, if you analyze their actions, they're not doing things that are good to society. So we are trying to do that.
Yeah, I can imagine there's a fair bit of virtue signaling and saying, "Hey, we're doing this, but we're doing this also." The journey's been pretty amazing, really. From what I've read, and you've raised some phenomenal rounds of funding. Launched in the Netherlands. I saw that you recently launched in France. Where does it stop? Not that it should, but what's the end goal?
So it's when you talk about only in US, the insurance business is something like 11% of the GDP, right?
Okay.
And when you talk about insurance, it's taking a massive part of the economy, and you don't have to, like any other industry, you don't have to rule the market. You don't have to have more than 50% in the market in order to be a really successful company. You can own 1% or 2% of the market, and you'll be a legendary company.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say where it stops, because when you are talking about insurance business, we are talking about the long run, and it can be, you can control not large percent of the market, but you can own few percent of the market and be a huge company. So of course we are trying to grow in products and into new territories. That's for sure. And we are trying to have the right balance between, trying to be profitable, but also grow healthy. So this is more on the business side of things. So it's really hard to predict what is the end game, but the end game, like, it's really far from here.
Yeah. So the business model feels simple, clean, easy to understand. There's a clear delineation for me where you make money, customers, social good. I like that. I need to be pointed in the right direction. You'll have to excuse me.
Right. I mean, you don't have, you can advertise how good you are and how good
Yeah.
you are doing for society, but you need to back your words with actions. And this is what we are doing. It's not
Yeah.
only about where we invest the money. It's not only what we are doing for the, about Earth and global warming. It's not only about that. It's also about our business model. Our business model from the core is different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that and I can feel that as well. I do think it radiates through, some of what I'm reading with you guys and what we're speaking about. We've touched on automating that customer journey. We've touched on data within the business and how you're using that data to your advantage now, and it's having benefits for early products. It would be great to understand if there are other engineering challenges that sit with you and the team today that, to use the phrase, keep you up at night, or where engineers are hashing things out in a design room or whatever. Tell us a little bit about what some of those conversations or topics might look like.
So naturally, when we are growing so fast, you're building a lot of projects and products. Sorry, to build a product from scratch, it's a major challenge, right? You need to design something. You need to do market research. You need to, build it from ground up. Even in terms of, um, architecture, design, everything. But also, when you move so fast, you accumulate some tech debt that you need
Yeah,
to pay eventually, right? And those are the major challenges. On one hand, you need to build fast, you need to build different projects and products. That's fine, but also you need to make sure that the architecture stays healthy and it's scalable and it's robust.
yeah,
So you need to find the sweet spot, where you're moving fast enough but not accumulating too much tech debt,
fine.
and that you have time later on to pay the debt. So usually those are the challenges that we are having. And also, as engineering organization that grows so fast, you want to grow healthy without harming the culture that we have.
Yeah,
We have a great culture, and we don't want to, we want to make sure that every new engineer that comes to the team, adding to the culture and not just fit into the culture.
how do you manage that technical debt with teams?
So you expect the team to already, when they're doing things, to do it consciously. Like when they're building something, they need to acknowledge that, and they need to foresee the depth. I mean, they need to be aware that the depth they're accumulating. Once you know that, you can build things differently, right?
Yeah,
You can put some infrastructure without implementing stuff. You can say, okay, this we will do a separate project to complete. You can do a lot of things, but first you need to be aware. If you're not aware about the debt that you're accumulating, then it can surprise you in the future, and that's not a place you want to go. So we need
yeah.
to identify it ahead.
Is that your role to help teams identify that and steer people in the right direction?
So my role is, also I'm leading the engineering side. So I'm taking care of, the culture, the hiring, the tech brand awareness, but I also I'm leading squads and tribes. But you want that the technical people, the people who are actually making the designs and implementing the solution, you want them to come up with it. You want them to have this sense of ownership on those things.
So maybe to coach and influence the thinking then.
Yeah, it has to be maybe my role is to make sure the culture is a culture that people know that this is their role.
A really interesting part about you and probably what some other people have introduced in the business probably plays to your culture as well is you've introduced cross training programs
Right.
for engineers. And I love this topic at the moment. I get passionate about it. I think it's important. I think it's important to focus on problem solving abilities rather than, let's just say, a programming language ability, whatever it is, but separate the two. Help us understand what that looks like inside of Lemonade and why that was introduced.
There are two main ways to train new engineer, right? You can have like the approach of baptism by fire. You throw them into the battle. You land them into a working squad. But the problem with this approach is that the teams that are working on building amazing products doesn't have the mindset or the capacity to onboard the newcomers, right? They have deadlines, they have objectives, OKRs, side projects. I don't know, they have a lot of on their plate, and you want that the new people that are coming will have the someone will train them,
Yeah,
and they will have a better experience. So we've built onboarding program. We call it the makers. We start in cohorts, so we make sure engineers will not start alone. They'll start together. It's like a team that starts together, even if
right.
eventually they will go to separate teams. They are installing their remote environment together. We call it installation party.
Yeah.
They're getting lectures and trains about the company, about the culture, about the structure. They don't have to learn it on the go when they are in the teams. They will learn it before. It creates like a sense of community of makers, um, and then they will work on tasks to make sure we keep the code standards, to make sure they know our tech stack. Then they will start to touch other areas in the system. They will solve small bugs across all services, um, and only when they are ready, they can move into their team and actually specialize in the squads. So this is the makers program. The reason that we did it is what I've mentioned earlier about teams that are expect them to deliver. They are focused on delivery. You don't want them to distract them and to
Yeah.
be focused on something else. Of course, they are supporting and helping them, but we want to do the heavy lifting in the onboarding program,
Yeah.
and we want to create a better onboarding experience, because
Yeah.
everything
Key.
starts from the onboarding. If the onboarding is good and the feeling is good, then it's a safe landing,
Yeah.
because there will be a lot of challenges after, but you want to make sure that at least the onboarding experience is smooth.
I've heard that phrase before, the safe landing part.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think an onboarding experience and the safe landing part is critical. In your experience, how long do you think that onboarding process takes, especially if someone is cross training into a new environment? Yes, it might be dependent on the person, their ability to pick up new things, but roughly.
It is depending on the person, and there is no pressure to graduate the makers.
Yeah.
I can say that there are some seniors that graduated after 2 weeks.
Okay.
They felt comfortable. They can handle real life situation, real life bugs and features. They came from the same tech stack, and
Nice.
they're independent by their nature. So after 2 weeks, and we had people that spent 2 or 3 months in the makers. So
Really?
there is no pressure. Yeah, we are looking. We are trying to build healthy organization for the long term.
Yeah.
So we don't care if the people will be 1 month or 2 months in the makers, because
Nice.
eventually we invest them for the long run, and this is our main focus.
So what are you hiring right now? Who's going to come and be our next maker? Is it lemonade maker as well? Is that where it comes from?
So, yeah, lemonade maker, right? And in terms of roles, who are we hiring for?
Yeah.
So we need to ask the opposite question: what are we not hiring?
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
You've
because
prepared
we are
that
growing.
as well.
Yeah, we are growing. We are hiring almost every position from product managers, backend engineers, front-end engineers, full stack engineering managers, staff engineers.
Okay.
We are hiring everything we can because we need to grow, but we are not compromising on the quality.
Okay. All right. Dive in a little bit deeper into what you think quality looks like.
So naturally, when you talk about technical quality, so you want to make sure your engineers are having less bugs. That's the obvious thing, but you want also to make sure that their solution, their implementation can hold for a long time, or they are flexible enough, or taking into consideration other issues that they will have in the future. And that's, for me, that's how you, of course, the code needs to look clean, and that other engineers can understand this code that's given, mainly that. But when we are talking about quality in a sense of culture or personality, it has to be someone that is a big-hearted, someone that can wants to help anyone, someone that focus on the customer, thinks about the end user, someone that is ambitious, someone that is owning, have really sense of ownership. So this is how I see quality from the personality perspective as well.
Okay. I pick up maintainability, reusability, scalability on the tech side, and just a real hard do-gooder on the personal side.
You're right.
All right. But before we wrap up, can you stand up for a sec so we can see the T-shirt?
Do you see it?
Yeah, we've got it.
All right. I don't want to say it. I don't know if
neither did I.
But
neither did I.
It gives you a sense of what we're all about.
Yeah, 100%.
And all the makers are getting this T-shirt. So if you want to be a lemonade maker and get this T-shirt, just come join us.
Yeah. And the links will be below as well for everyone that's interested in chatting to you, chatting to the business. Guys and girls listening, publicly traded organization, a B-Corp, impacting social good scenarios, doing some really cool things with engineering, shaking up the insurance space, working with Ori and others. They've got some cool offices as well. There's not a lot to not like. So come and get involved and give Ori a prod and see how you can start talking to the team. Ori, big thanks. Insurance is awesome. Thanks for joining us, and I will definitely see you soon, and I'll keep posted on what's going on with you guys and girls.
All right, Elliot. Thank you so much for having me.
Big love. Thanks, Ori.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this episode. Massively appreciate you listening and checking in with us. If you want to find out more about us and what we're doing, please check us out on social media. What we're trying to do at Enginears is build a community to drive knowledge sharing and experiences. On Twitter, we can be found Enginears.io. It's no underscore. We've also got a website which is engineers.io. These links will all be posted in the description. Any feedback and comments are massively appreciated. We're always looking to improve on where we can. Thanks, guys.